Hey everybody, I'm here today to talk to you about 14 things that you should have in your car. I would recommend keeping all 14 of these things in your car somewhere that is accessible. In case of an emergency, in case of anything, it's just really good to have these 14 things in your car. Now let's get right into it. I'm not going to waste any time. Number one, jumper cables. Now here's the thing about jumper cables. You might think, well, I just replaced my battery, so I don't need jumper cables. Well, if jumper cables aren't useful for you, they will actually be useful for someone else. So it's not only about you in this situation. Yes, of course, jumper cables will help you if you're stranded, but you have to think about it this way. If you're stranded and you have jumper cables, you need someone to give you a boost. So someone else is helping you. So to return that favor, you should keep jumper cables in your trunk to make sure that if someone else is stranded, you can actually help someone else. So jumper cables are helpful for you and for other people. So it's a good idea to keep them in your trunk or somewhere in your car. Number two, a first aid kit. Now, you never know when you're going to need a first aid kit. It might just be for something as simple as a bandage, or it might be for something more severe. Keep a first aid kit in your trunk, okay? Now, you can go and buy a first aid kit, or you can sort of make your own first aid kit. Either one is okay, as long as you have the necessary tools and supplies to actually create that first aid kit and things to use in case you need the things from this first aid kit. Number three, a blanket. You don't know when this will be needed. You don't know in advance if you're going to be stranded and it's going to be cold and the heat in your car is not going to work because your car is, just not functioning properly and you're stranded in the cold. A blanket will greatly help you. Now, people automatically think about survival situations when they think about keeping a blanket in the trunk, but it doesn't have to be a survival situation. Maybe you're stranded on the side of the highway and it's freezing and your heat isn't working. Guess what? A blanket will help keep you comfortable. So it can be useful for a survival situation, but it can also be useful just to keep you comfortable in a very unfortunate situation. Number four, a spare tire. Make sure that you have a spare tire in your car. Your car most likely came with one. A lot of people will buy cars, used cars, and they won't even check for the spare tire. And other people will have a spare tire, but it's not inflated. What's the point of having a spare tire if it's not inflated? A spare tire is supposed to be used to simply throw on the car if you get a flat tire and you can drive right away. You shouldn't have to inflate it. So with that being said, make sure that you have a spare tire, make sure that you know how to use it, and also make sure that it's inflated. Number five, a jack for the spare tire. If you have a spare tire and you don't have a jack or the appropriate tools to put the spare tire on, it's almost useless. It's still somewhat useful because someone else can let you borrow their jack, but it's just almost useless. So have a jack to make sure that you can lift the car up and also know how to use the jack, know how to operate it, know where to put it under the car. Do your research and maybe even practice, even when you don't have a flat tire, just jack the car up so you know what you're doing if you're in that situation where you need to use it. Number six, a mini shovel. Now, a mini shovel is useful, especially if you live somewhere where there's a lot of snow, just like where I am right now in Toronto, where I live in Toronto. It's just good to have because you never know when you're going to need it. You might have to dig yourself out. You might have to remove some snow or dirt or mud or sand or anything. It's just a good thing to have a mini shovel. You can also get these like foldable shovels, which fold up to be extremely small. So that's something that's even more convenient because you can fit it easily in the side of your trunk. Number seven, an ice scraper. Now, like I said, if you live somewhere where it doesn't snow and it's not cold, then you probably don't need an ice scraper. But where I live, it snows and it's cold, so I need an ice scraper and I need to use it almost every day in the winter. I actually have them back here. Now you can get a full-blown ice scraper like this that has the bristles for the snow and then the scraper for the ice, or you can just get a mini ice scraper just for the ice, because in an almost an emergency situation, you can move the snow with your hands, but to scrape off the ice, you're going to need that scraper. Number eight, bottles of water. Now, bottles of water are great because, like I said, if you're stranded on the side of the highway and you're really thirsty, you have some bottles of water in the trunk, you can drink from them. But here's another added benefit of having bottles of water. You can use the bottles themselves as little containers. So let's say you need something to store some fluid in, for whatever reason, because you need to use that in your car. Like, let's say you need to store some oil from your car in a bottle temporarily, or something. What you can do is you can actually just drink the water or empty the water out, and there you go, you have a spare container to use. Number 9 is 20 bucks. Now, it's a really good idea to keep 20 bucks somewhere in your car. Now, I would recommend just leaving it in the first aid kit or leaving it in the center, somewhere in the car. Number one, where it's hidden, okay? Number one, where it's hidden, but number two, where it's easily accessible, where you'll remember where it is. Now, here's the thing. If you use the 20 bucks because you need to use it, number one, you found the use for it, but number two, you have to replace it. So if you ever use that 20 bucks, replace the 20 bucks. It's just a good idea to have 20 bucks in the car available for you just in case you need it. Number 10, a flashlight. If you're stranded at night, a flashlight can be used to see things. It can be used to show other drivers that you're pulled over if your lights aren't working in your car. It's just a good thing to have. It's a really good thing to have a flashlight. Make sure that it has batteries that work. Maybe you even want to keep spare batteries with the flashlight, or if it's a rechargeable flashlight, that you actually keep it fully charged, or at least charged enough to be used for a while. Okay, now I'm going to stop using my hands for the numbers because I'm past the number 10 and I only have 10 fingers. Number 11, a phone charger. Now you can keep a phone charger that plugs into your accessory slot, just like this one that I have right here. It's attached to my phone, so I'm not going to pull that up, but you can keep a phone charger like this available, or you can keep a phone charger cord with a portable power bank, and that power bank can be used to charge your phone, and some of them have built-in flashlights. Some of them can be used to boost your battery, your engine, and so forth. Number 12, duct tape. Now this is self-explanatory because there are so many uses for duct tape, okay? So many uses for duct tape. So with that being said, it's just a good idea. Keep a roll or even a few rolls of duct tape in your trunk. You never know when you're gonna need them. Number 13, some basic tools. Now, there are small toolkits that contain mini tools that you can use for various things around the car. I would recommend getting one of those, or even taking some spare tools that you have in your workshop or in your garage. Let's say you have 2 sets of screwdrivers, take 1 set, throw it in the car just in case. But if you don't want to keep a whole tool set, I would say at the very minimum, you need a pair of pliers. And why is that? Because pliers can be used for so many things. They allow you to grip something and turn it, to pull things, to push things, to use them to hammer on things. They're just a very versatile tool. So I would recommend, if you have to only have 1 tool in your car, it's a set of pliers. And last but not least, number 14 is a pair of work gloves. Now, you can do things with your bare hands that you can do with your work gloves. You might get your hands dirty, you might scrape up your hands, but it's possible to do everything that you can do with work gloves, but with your bare hands. But here's the thing. If you're in a situation, you're stranded on the highway, why do you want to get your hands all scuffed up and dirty? Because then you go to use your phone after and your hands are all full of, dirt and grime. Just put a pair of work gloves. They can be folded up to be really small, and they're just a useful thing to have. You can use them, number 1, to warm up your hands in the cold. Number 2, if you ever have to touch any part of your engine bay and it's hot, work gloves can resist some of that heat for you, depending on how hot that thing is. They're just a very versatile thing to have in your trunk. And that's basically it. In this video, I've gone over 14 things you should have in your car. I would argue that you really, really need these things in your car. Not for the everyday situations, but for the unfortunate events that you may encounter while driving. For yourself, for the passengers around you, for other people. If you see someone stranded, you can use these things to help them. They're just good to have. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. What are some other things that you think you should have in your car for unfortunate, unforeseen situations? Let me know as a comment down below. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.